The morning sun hung low over the base entrance, its glare catching on the guard's sunglasses as he stood rigidly at his post. The hum of military vehicles, the clatter of boots, and the echo of clipped orders painted the usual picture of discipline and control. Then a single figure approached, a woman in civilian clothes, carrying a small black case in one hand, her steps steady but unhurried. "Ma'am, ID please," the guard said, extending a hand without looking up. She offered a small nod and reached into her jacket pocket, but before she could even hand it over, he frowned, scanning her from head to toe. "Civilian access to this sector's restricted," he added sharply. "I understand," she replied evenly, voice calm and composed. "But you'll want to check that ID." He scoffed, lowering his sunglasses just enough to meet her eyes. "Ma'am, I don't need to check anything. Orders are orders. No clearance, no entry." Her lips pressed into a line. "Son, I strongly suggest you verify my credentials before making this decision." "Ma'am," he snapped, impatience creeping in, "I said you're not cleared. Step back from the gate." The tension thickened. 2 more guards watched from inside the booth, whispering. The woman didn't argue further. Instead, she turned away and pulled a small encrypted communicator from her pocket. She spoke a few words quietly, her tone firm, professional, the kind of tone that made men in command listen. Less than 3 minutes later, the base alarm blared softly, not the emergency one, but the one used to signal high-clearance personnel arrival. The guard blinked, confused, as a convoy of black SUVs tore through the main road toward the gate, sirens low but urgent. 5 generals stepped out. 5. The young guard had never seen even one of them outside the operations wing. Dust rose around their boots as they approached her, saluting in perfect unison. "Ma'am," the lead general said, his voice reverent. "We weren't expecting you so soon." The guard froze. His mind struggled to piece together what was happening. The woman nodded at the general, her eyes soft but sharp. "It seems your security protocols are working, though perhaps a little too well." The general turned to the guard, face hardening. "Private, do you have any idea who you just denied entry to?" The guard swallowed, throat dry. "Sir, I didn't." "This is Commander Rhea Lawson," the general interrupted, "Special Operations Intelligence, the one who wrote the clearance procedures you're quoting." A flush of humiliation spread across the guard's face. He stood at attention, words failing him. Commander Lawson simply smiled faintly, resting a hand on his shoulder. "No harm done, Private. You did your job." Then, turning back to the generals, her tone shifted, crisp, "All business. Let's get to work. If they're moving the schedule forward, we're already late." The convoy door opened for her. The guards stepped back in stunned silence as she disappeared inside, the base buzzing with whispers about the woman 5 generals had rushed to meet. Inside the command building, the air was thick with tension. Officers paused mid-task as Commander Rhea Lawson entered, her presence commanding attention even before anyone spoke her name. The 5 generals flanked her, their expressions a mixture of urgency and respect. Every step echoed through the marble corridor, a sound that seemed to ripple authority itself. In the operations room, screens flickered with satellite feeds, coded transmissions, and maps marked with red blinking indicators. The hum of machines and low voices filled the air. The moment Rhea entered, conversation stopped. The senior intelligence officer snapped to attention. "Commander Lawson," he said quickly. "We weren't expecting you until next week." "I wasn't expecting a code red alert this morning," she replied, setting her black case on the central table. "But since the enemy didn't wait, neither will I." She flipped the case open. Inside were classified dossiers, encrypted drives, and a sleek tablet marked with the insignia of Special Operations Intelligence Command, a branch so covert, most officers only knew of it through whispers. The generals leaned in as the holographic map projected upward, showing enemy movements across several conflict zones. "This," she began, pointing at the eastern perimeter, "isn't random movement. It's coordination. They're not probing, they're positioning. And if we don't respond within the next 12 hours, our supply line will be gone." A murmur spread through the room. General Carter frowned. "We haven't received any satellite confirmation of that pattern." Rhea gave a thin smile. "That's because they're using signal mirrors and burst transmissions from ground level. The data you're seeing is 3 hours old. Mine's from 30 minutes ago." The room fell silent. One of the generals exhaled softly, shaking his head in disbelief. "Where did you get this intel?" another asked. She met his gaze evenly. "Let's just say some old friends owed me a favor." The generals exchanged knowing looks, she had been the architect of more than one off-the-record operation that saved hundreds of lives. Rhea tapped another button, switching the display to show base schematics. "We'll need to reroute your comms grid and deploy reconnaissance drones immediately. And I'll need access to Command Hangar 6. General Carter hesitated. "That's the restricted hangar, only top level." "Exactly," she interrupted, "and it's my project inside. The one you all approved but weren't cleared to see." A flicker of understanding crossed their faces. Within moments, authorization codes were entered, and security locks disengaged. As they exited the briefing room, the same young guard from earlier stood at attention in the hallway, eyes wide as she passed. She paused briefly, meeting his gaze. "Next time," she said softly, "trust your instincts, and never assume rank by clothing." He nodded, cheeks burning, as she walked past him toward the hangar. The massive doors opened with a hiss, revealing what looked like a stealth aircraft cloaked in matte black plating, something no one on base had ever seen. Rhea glanced back at the generals. "Let's show them why they still call us untouchable." The engines began to hum, the hangar filling with light. What started as a security misunderstanding at the gate had just turned into the start of a classified mission that could alter the course of the entire war.